Dear Boomers, tonight is the debate between Kamala and Donald Trump. And I have been watching Anthony Davis's weekly program called The Weekend Report, I think it's called. And he's been, for the last 3 or 4 weeks, has been interviewing Dr. Bandy Lee, who is a forensic psychiatrist and is interested and if not completely worried about the effect that Donald Trump has on the mind, the brain of the people, that including all of us, not, because his talking points go into people's vocabularies when you talk with them. His hateful commentary. So we have to understand Trump contagion and its psychological impact. We have to understand that Trump contagion refers to mental pathology from a leader to the population. Dr. Lee warns that this phenomenon can rapidly infect society, if not the whole world, causing widespread psychological harm. The symptoms include inability to distinguish fact from fiction. It entails increased aggression and hostility, erosion of critical thinking skills, and blind loyalty to a charismatic figure. This doesn't even require physical contact. It spreads through emotional bonds and media exposure, making it particularly dangerous in our interconnected world. The constant barrage of inflammatory rhetoric and misinformation can create a feedback loop, reinforcing harmful beliefs and behaviors across large segments of the population. So the mechanics of this, we must understand how it operates on both individual and societal levels. At its core, the phenomenon exploits basic human psychological vulnerabilities. For instance, the need for belonging and group identity, the desire for simple solutions to complex problems, the fear of the unknown and the different, and the tendency to seek out information that conforms to existing beliefs. By tapping into these fundamental aspects of human psychology, Trump contagion can spread and has spread rapidly, creating a sense of shared reality among followers that may be fundamentally at odds with objective facts. This shared delusion can be particularly resistant to correction as it becomes intertwined with personal identity and group membership. Now, we all know that Trump is a narcissist. It's become a growing concern. When people talk about Donald Trump, they act as if he always made some sense until now, but I don't think he's ever made any sense because he's always been a narcissist. The rise of narcissistic personalities in politics is alarming. The dictators of the world are all narcissists. Stalin, Hitler, Donald Trump, the different leaders that we have today in different countries. So they lack empathy. They are always tend towards grandiosity. They are in need of constant admiration, and they exploit other people. These can lead to poor decision-making and harmful leadership, putting the nation's well-being at risk. The impact of a leader with narcissistic personality disorder extends beyond policy decisions to shape the very nature of public discourse and societal norms. So there becomes an erosion of democratic norms under narcissistic leadership. When a leader with narcissistic tendencies gains power, watch out! The very foundations of democracy can be undermined. This erosion occurs through several mechanisms. Number one, attacks on institutions that provide checks and balances. Number two, normalization of unethical behavior. Number three, polarization of the electorate, and suppression of dissent and free press. Over time, these actions can weaken the very fabric of democratic governance, creating a more authoritarian political climate. And the danger does not just lie in the actions of the leader, but in the gradual acceptance of these behaviors as normal by a significant portion of the population. Now, we've recently run into some Russian disinformation campaigns. We see it on social media. We see it particularly on Twitter, where Elon Musk himself has become a authoritarian right-wing fanatic. And he has. I mean, he has really... I go on Twitter because the journalists are still there who I admire. However, you can see how these Russian bots infiltrate different people's narratives. The narratives that they are infiltrating make a lot of sense, but the people who are infiltrating the narratives are very prone to misinformation, really. Social media is one of the problems here, although I think now that it has been determined that these Russian bots are there's a way of, and it's not censorship to rid platforms of this misinformation stream of contagion. The intersection of foreign interference in domestic politics, its difficulty in distinguishing between foreign and domestic sources of information, amplification of existing political divisions, erosion of trust in democratic processes and institutions, and the creation of parallel information ecosystems. So as these narratives entwine, they become increasingly difficult to counter, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of misinformation and distrust. The dynamic further exacerbates the Trump contagion effect as it provides a fertile ground to spread harmful psychological patterns. So we know that Kamala is about to face a mentally impaired opponent. She's preparing. She must be preparing for that very single thing. So when you're debating a person with apparent mental impairments, rises ethical and strategic questions. Should she engage at all, given the risk of normalizing abnormal behavior? So should she... So, I mean, I think that the team understands this, her team, and they know that they have to handle Trump's debate tactics, which often involve interruptions, personal attacks, disregard for the rules, and the media's role in framing these encounters has often been lacking. They risk normalizing Trump's behavior by treating it as standard political discourse, and this is the problem we face this evening. How do we navigate this? How do we address obvious falsehoods without appearing defensive? How does she balance respect for the office with the need to challenge inappropriate behavior? How does she maintain focus on policy issues while responding to personal attacks? And how does she communicate effectively to viewers who may have been influenced by the Trump contagion? And these challenges require a nuanced approach that goes beyond traditional debate preparation. The stakes are high, as the outcome of these debates could significantly influence public perception and ultimately the election results, which, if Trump wins, we will be in a dictatorship. If Kamala wins, we will be working for our democracy, because as I have said, I have been lacking in studying what our democracy means, how I can carry out democracy in my local area, and how I can contribute locally as a civic responsibility. Of course, the role of mental health professionals in safeguarding democracy, they know that there's a psychological impact of political rhetoric on the population. They know that there are early signs of authoritarian tendencies in leaders who are narcissistic, and they know that there are strategies for promoting psychological resilience in the face of manipulation. The long-term societal effects of widespread psychological distress, psychiatrists are aware of. So by integrating health perspectives and political discourse, we can develop more effective strategies for countering the spread of Trump's hateful ways and preserving the psychological well-being of the nation. How do we address it? We promote public education on psychological manipulation. We encourage mental health professionals to engage in political discourse. We develop media literacy programs to help people recognize disinformation, and we support independent journalism that prioritizes truth over sensationalism. And we need to understand that resilience in the face of these challenges is a national imperative. We can strengthen civic education to foster a deeper understanding of democratic principles. We can create community-based programs that promote empathy and critical thinking. And we develop early intervention strategies to address and identify signs of psychological manipulation. And then we encourage cross-partisan dialogue to bridge divides and reduce polarization. So by investing in these areas, we can create a more robust democracy that is which is less susceptible to the harmful effects of Trump contagion and better equipped to face future challenges. So the stakes couldn't be higher. By understanding and addressing Trump contagion, we can work towards preserving both our collective and our personal mental health and the democratic values that do define our nation. Do we want to throw that all out? The path forward requires vigilance, empathy, and a commitment to truth and reason. Only by confronting the challenges head on can we hope to emerge as a stronger, more united society. There's going to be a video that shows up right here. Please subscribe. Bye.